If you have ever considered starting an online course but felt really stuck on what to do, what to share, if you were even worthy of doing an online course, then this episode is for you. My special guest today, Sara, has some really great, incredible insights on how you can kind of find ideas out of thin air and create an incredible online course. She gives some really great tips around promotion. She gives some really great tips around pricing your course. And she also shares why some courses succeed and some courses don't. So if you don't know Sara, Sara Vezensek grew up in Slovenia, a place where the luxury yacht world wasn't even something people believed was real outside of movies. But by her early 20s, she was living in it, working as a private chef on super yachts, flying private, managing $1 million deals and earning 10K months. And from the outside, it looked like a dream. But on the inside, she felt trapped, constantly on call, and completely disconnected from her own freedom and purpose. Now, she's an online business coach and mentor who helps ambitious women turn their lived experience into profitable, freedom-based businesses. Sara is known for helping her clients package their brilliance into high-impact offers, shift their money mindset, and finally stop trading money for time. She's bold, real, and passionate about showing women how to build a business that actually supports the life that they want. You are going to absolutely love today's episode, so let's dive on in. Welcome, Sara, to the podcast. I am so thrilled to have you here. How are you doing?
I am doing so well, and I'm so honored that we get to chat on my morning here in Slovenia.
Yes, it's always different time zones when I'm interviewing my guests, so I love that. Hopefully, you'll be nice and fresh and got like tons of ideas rather than I'm often recording this in the evening for us, and then my brain is somehow slightly deteriorating. So I feel like you'll be all full and ready to go for us, which I'm excited for. Okay, so first question I'm going to ask you is what I ask all of my guests, and that is, which I think will be an interesting answer for you, is what does an average day in your life and business look like?
I love that question. So, normally people would tell you that their normal day looks like, they wake up, they do some computer work, maybe they go for a workout, but I am a travel enthusiast. I kind of call myself a jet-setting CEO ever since I started this business. So, my typical day looks like that I wake up somewhere in the jungle. I usually gave out a little prayer for Wi-Fi to work, little like Wi-Fi gods to please help me because I continuously put myself in situations where I just don't know if, things are gonna go through, and they always do. So, and it's not like I'm in a tent in the middle of the woods. Still say in like beautiful hotels, but you never know, power goes out or something like that. And then one of my favorite days, excuse me, in business was we were in Nepal, and I went and walked with the elephants through the jungle and literally got a sales notifications while I'm walking past rhinos, and like the elephants are protecting us and I'm on foot. And normally when you see a rhino, you're in a car or
Yeah.
you're standing like far behind. And then we honestly got home, did a workout, did a little like stretch on our terrace outside overlooking the forest and Pokhara Lake, and then relaxed in the afternoon. And the beauty for me of traveling and building a business is the fact that I am kind of forced to take a break, because normally I would just, go from the old mentality of exchanging time for money and just want to work, 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 work. So while I'm traveling, I have this like beautiful balance and nice little challenges to deal with every single day.
Yeah, like 'cause it'd be pointless to travel, but then to stay inside working 24/7. So yeah, I guess that's a great way to force you to get out and do something. So I love that. I've been to Pokhara. I didn't. Did I walk with elephants? Not past rhinos. So that's a new experience. Something to keep
Exactly.
your blood pumping, I guess. Okay, so you've had quite a wild ride in your life and your story. Would you be able to give me like a snapshot, short, condensed kind of version of how you went from private chef on super yachts to you're in business now?
Oh, for sure. When people hear super yachts, when people hear, chefing and traveling the world and all of that, it sounds so fancy
Mm.
because you think you're sipping cocktails by the pool and you're on a yacht in a bikini. And my life was in between. I started as a chef, and then I became like a yacht manager. So it meant that I was technically a working guest. So I stayed in the guest chambers, rooms, and then, worked as a coordinator. So I was kind of working all day long. And my Instagram looked like perfection. She's just living the life, enjoying the yacht and all of that. But the reality of it was that I felt like I was in a golden cage because I could not leave. I was with 30 people, and I don't mean like I was forced to be there against my will, but I was at work. I was living with my bosses, I was living with their friends, and I was living with the crew. So from the moment I opened my eyes, it was just 30 people like asking me questions. And I, for the first 3 years, loved it. I was 23 and thriving and thought that, I've made it and this is amazing and I'm earning so much money. And then I realized that I don't have my freedom. And the challenges just became very easy for me and I got bored. So about 2 years ago, I was like, you know what? I have to figure out how to have my freedom because all the money in the world, all the yachts, all the jets, all the, beautiful locations, it's great. But if I can't go do them and enjoy them on my own terms, then you're just kind of dangling a carrot in front of my face and I can't really do anything. So 2 years ago, I found out about being an online entrepreneur where you don't have to sacrifice your freedom, where you don't have to, yes, of course, you have to work for it, you have to build it, all of that. But I never built a business because I didn't want to be stuck in one place. I didn't want
Mm.
to, you know, s- work 18-hour days in an office with a suit on. I wanted to be, in Pokhara walking around with animals and come back and still build my business. So that's like a little transition of me just realizing that freedom is my number one priority and then everything else comes after that.
And so then you took this, yeah, you kind of switched from doing this, like living in a golden cage, and came into doing your own business. And so, what then does it look like for what you do now practically? Like, where are you earning those? Like you said, you got a sales notification while you're walking through the jungle. What were those sales?
Yeah, for sure. So to me, that still is mind-blowing because before, as I said, 18-hour days, no weekends, no holidays, nothing for a salary. And now I set up a business online where I do online coaching. I help mostly women because they feel connected to my story, experience freedom, build and start an online business. I teach them about money mindset, basically all the lessons that I've learned through, I started working when I was 13. So I
Mm.
basically have a whole, long ass career behind me. But I really help them give that knowledge back. And when people and women who were following me before found that out, they jumped into all my online programs, into one-on-ones. And the beauty of online programs, which I also teach, people who want to maybe scale up or build a business and get that freedom back, is how to package that one-on-one into an online course. And as soon as I did that, I could go for a walk, you know, outside, go for a drink with a friend, spend time with my family, and people could join my world because I had it set up where my content brings people in, it nurtures them, they exchange their email for like a free offer, and then eventually those leads will convert if your systems, if you know how to run it.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, and so we're going to start talking a little bit about online courses now, but I want to ask you first what your opinion is of online courses and like in the age of AI and the age of so much free content in the world, why do you think, and if you do, then why do you think online courses are still a good idea? Are people still wanting to purchase them?
Yes, it's a two-way street, in my personal opinion, because on one hand, everybody can be an expert, right? And that's a little bit of a problem. But I also think if you're a human who has a way to maybe do a little research on the person before, right? Like before you go to school, you don't just pick a college or pick a school, you do some research, you see how it is, how the professors are, how the classes are. I would say it's the same with online courses. You personally, before I started, I talked to their past clients. I saw who they posted on their stories and I was like, hey, I really want to reach out to this person. I want to join their world. Can you tell me how your experience was? And I got really real feedback of,
Mhm.
especially if it was $100 investment. I didn't do that because it's $100. But if I'm about to invest, 10K, 20K into a year of mentorship, then I need to know that this person has got my back.
Mm.
So that would be a little bit of just, be careful because online world, as amazing as it is, it's still a lot of gray area of, there's not a lot of people paying attention of what is okay and what is not okay
Yeah.
compared to a normal traditional business. Like there's way more.
Regulations and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was the word I was looking for. Is way more regulated. I was like,
Yeah.
what is the word? But on the other hand, I was not forced to go to college by my parents or anything like that, but by the system. I feel like,
Mm.
I'm 29, and when I had to choose, I was 18, I was confused. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do till the day I die. Like, I don't, how is this my decision? You didn't even show me what is possible. And now it can be a doctor, a lawyer, or, just go do like a basic business school or something like that. So the beauty of online courses and today's like DNA, I feel like it's beautiful because you can learn whatever you want online. If you do your research, right? Like I don't have to go to school anymore to be a designer, for example, and spend X amount of money. I could learn, I could practice at home, and I can actually use those 4 to 5 years that I would technically be learning in person to already be working, to already build my brand, to already share. And it's not going to be perfect, but I was always very mad that I have to go to college to study something, and then I have to go find a job where I'm gonna again have to learn how to actually do that job. So it didn't make any sense to me.
Mm.
Um, and the beauty of online courses that I love is the fact that I can help unlimited amount of people.
Mm.
And I'm talking about people who are actually real, who actually want to teach, right? Because there's always going to be the good and the bad. There's good and bad lawyers, there's good and bad doctors, there's good and bad, in every profession. But there are some incredible, incredible people sharing their knowledge for, a fraction of the price because maybe you can't afford to work one-on-one with me right now. But if you do X amount of courses, you build yourself up and then you can still join my world in like a bigger capacity. So that's why I absolutely love them, but you do definitely have to be smart about who you trust online.
Mm. Very much. Okay. I love that. And so when you're if you're trying to think through what am I going to do for a course, like I remember when I 5, 6 years ago, I launched my first course. And before that happened, I was chatting with my now coach and we are just catching up for a coffee as a friend. And she said, have you thought about doing an online course? And I said, well, of course I have. Every business, every person in the world has probably thought at some point about running a course. But I was stuck with the same thing that most people get stuck with, which is, what on earth would I make an online course about? I'm not that great at anything in the world. Like, what would I do? And I was just working as a standard graphic designer at that stage, working for people and designing their graphics, designing their logos. And I thought, well, who do I teach how to design? I will have to teach other designers how to design graphics. I'm not that good to teach other designers. I started to spiral, and she's like, well, what if you taught everyday business owners how to make their own graphics? And I thought, I mean, that's really scary. It's like career suicide to teach people that I'm doing the work for what to do. But then I realized, you know what, people are going to do it anyway. I might as well teach them how to do it really well. And that's when my course, DIY Design My Biz, was started, and it's still going now. And it says it took a shift in my brain to think, what can I actually do that I want to do? And I think a lot of people's struggle when it comes to doing an online course is actually thinking, what do I even do it on? So do you have, like, I think people get they think that this course has to be totally new or totally unique or totally something else. Is that a myth? Like, does it have to be a totally new idea?
I love that question because first I want to highlight the biggest struggle that I hear with my clients is, oh, but I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, okay, cool. I know that the name, I mean, the word expert seems so daunting, and we think of like people who speak on huge stages and do all these things. And I want to say this first, that this is actual science fact. This is not, made up by me. You have to be 10% ahead of someone else in order to be able to serve them 100%. And when I heard that, that helped me so much because then you can understand that, let's say you're a stay-at-home mom and you just want to make a little bit of, side income, let's say, and let's keep it like really, she's not even trying to make a huge business out of it. And she knows how to meal prep. Do you know how many moms would love a simple course on how to meal prep for a week with a menu where you just switch out the protein for kids and lunch boxes and how to store it and all of that. I mean, like so many moms would benefit from that. So it could be as simple as that, and important here is that I am speaking to people who are like visionaries, people who actually want to help people.
Mm.
I'm not saying go buy a course and then remake it and then promote it. Like, no.
Yeah.
But the thing that I want to highlight is that you are an expert in something. You are 10% ahead of someone else and you are able to serve them in one area of your life. It could be experience, it could actually be your knowledge, right? When you said that you were doing graphic design, I have no idea besides how to use Canva a little bit about graphic design, but if I wanted to dive in, I would 100% buy someone's course.
Mm.
What is important, though, to note is that when I'm buying a course or when someone else is investing in a course, they usually buy it from a person because they like their story, because they like their business, they like their personality, whatever that is. Because you're definitely not the only person that does, graphic design. I'm definitely not the only person that teaches you how to, start an online business or like money mindset or all of that. There's millions of people probably, but people come to me because they like me. They like the way I teach. And in that sense, the course is always going to be unique if you make it yourself because
Mm.
it has your knowledge and your experience in it.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great point. And yeah, I've heard that similar phrase of you don't have to be like the best in the field at X, Y, or Z. You just have to be a little bit better than the people that you're teaching. Like I've bought, yeah, a slow cooking course from a lady. I don't know what her credibility is. I just bought the course from her because she knew some stuff that I didn't know about slow cooking. And that was all it took. Do you have any other tips around finding ideas? Like, is there any kind of little question we can ask ourselves or ways that we can kind of see where our area of expertise lies?
Yes, for sure. I am honestly really good at telling other people what they could make a course about. But I think a lot of people would be, even let's say you would be really good at telling all your friends.
Mm.
But sometimes when it comes to ourselves, I feel like we're almost too close to know what we're great at or like what other people really find exciting or, that it just comes naturally to us. And then we think that, oh, but everybody knows how to do it. So, number one that really helped me was talking to other people and being like, hey, like close friends, very
Yep.
close friends. Be like, hey, like what? And this might sound weird, but your people will tell you exactly what comes naturally to you. They will highlight what you're amazing at. And I
Yeah.
mean those friends that will tell you the good and the bad, and they will tell you like, hey, no, you shouldn't do this. So that's a really good idea to start. But because that question kept popping up in my clients as well, I was like, you guys are really not realizing that every single person pretty much has $1 million course idea inside of them. Like every person. And as I said, it could be as simple as a mom making, meal prep. I actually had a woman that created a cookie recipe, a chocolate chip cookie recipe, and she sold it for $10. A chocolate chip cookie, you know how many recipes are out there. She earned $250,000
No.
of a, like through years, but it took her absolutely no time to create that. It's probably like a 30-minute video, but they're
Mm.
the best chocolate chip cookies that she ever made, and people were loving it. And she had a little bit of audience already, but people went crazy.
Yeah.
And when I speak about a $1 million course idea, I actually created a mini training that's for free for my clients, and I would love to, give it to your audience as well, where you basically do a little journaling first. You answer some questions to like get to know yourself first, and then I created beautiful prompts for AI where it does research for you. And at the end of this exercise, you will have a full outline of a course example. Now, course example, why? Because AI is not you and it will never be, but it will give you so much clarity. I literally had people send me that it changed their brain chemistry, that it's changed how they think about their knowledge and their expertise, because it will give you so much that you could teach, so
Mm.
much market research and everything. So I think that's a beautiful, beautiful question. And I think that resource would be amazing for people
Mhm.
who are kind of on the fence or they don't know or they just need this like confidence boost and then take that and then make it into something.
And yeah, that's like even just the simplicity of asking your friends. Like
Hmm.
I can always I already think of like what my best friends would tell me I'm good at. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I could make an extra course on that. And it's yeah. So okay, we can have an idea. What is the difference between the millions of people that are making courses and they flop versus the people that make a course and it actually succeeds?
Another amazing question. I think the biggest problem when people make a course is they don't know how to teach the transformation.
Mm,
Because and we could even see that like you could, let's say you want to learn skiing, right, and you go with one friend has no idea how to teach you. She could be an amazing skier, she could be a gold Olympic medalist, but if she doesn't know how to teach you, explain, how to turn, where to put pressure, then you're just going to be annoyed and feel like a failure and you're going to give up. So
mm,
I think the courses, besides marketing and stuff, because if you don't know how to market it, if you don't know how to, put it in front of people, then you could have the best course in the world and no one's ever gonna come, into it and see it and all of that. But how to teach transformation. I actually teach my people how to package it and how to put transformation inside of there. And the easiest way to do that is basically to think of it, okay, lesson one has one outcome.
mm,
Because if it's a 1 hour lesson and you're teaching 16 different things, first of all, you're the expert, so you should know how to break it down. If I'm teaching you how to start an online business, I'm not going to start with, oh, this is how you upload things into a platform. No, we're going to start with branding, clarity, your bigger why. Because I know that if you don't have that sorted first, you will never be successful. And I don't want you to do, I mean, like, mini branding for yourself, not like investing 10K into someone to do it for you, because that's so important because you get to know yourself and then it's easier to create a course. But yeah, I would definitely say that you need to figure out how to teach your transformation. And a lot of times it's good to maybe do a trial where you do a little lower price, you get people in, you
mm.
guide them through it. That's what I did with like my bigger course. And I saw what questions they were having. I saw what was not working, what was working, where I need to explain it in a different way, where I need to add a module. And when you do that with people, you fill in all the cracks and then you're thriving. And then it's just about the marketing and positioning and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, you make a really good point in terms of yeah, you can't just like this is how you meal prep and just say blah, 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 and tell them everything. You need to yeah, take them through, break it down and do that strategically. And
Mhm.
you made a really good point around that idea that like in my course, you're going through each of those tiny little steps. And so hopefully it all begins to make sense. But if we just, yeah, dive in, people get overwhelmed and they give up, and then you don't get any transformation at all. So you don't get any great testimonials, you don't get anything great. And exactly like you said, when I first launched my course, I think everyone wants to just be like, I want to put a course on Evergreen and make it passive income and just do that from the get go. But I
Mhm.
think I live launched my course 3 times before I even put it on Evergreen because it was that taking my students through it live and doing webinars live to them and taking them through the content. And as you said, seeing where they get stuck, seeing where things don't make sense for them so you can make adjustments and then create like a fully pre-recorded thing that people can work through when you know that it actually works. You've got proof of that. It also helps you believe in it more because you're like, oh, I saw my clients and my students actually do the thing and it worked for them. So I like that little tip there of yeah, even doing a small round where you just bring a few people in and take them through that and learn with them in that process can be, I think it can pull out some really great nuggets today. So helpful.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned in there the marketing piece, which I think is really I've got a friend at the moment who's thinking of starting an online course, and I said to her like, "This is a really great idea, and I think it's really needed. However, if you're not willing to put in the work to market it, no one's going to see it." I'm assuming you agree with that.
1,000%. 1,000%, because I mean, even if you're a lawyer or a doctor or something, you could have a word of mouth, but then that kind of defeats purpose of having an online course and all the freedom that you can get with it. Now, if you just want to make it because you're done with your friends asking you the same question about how to use your iPhone and take beautiful pictures, let's say, and you just want to record a video and send it to your friends, cool. But the possibilities of creating your personal brand, online marketing, if you know what you're doing, like we are seeing 23-year-olds that are becoming millionaires in a year because it really doesn't take that much when you know sales on how to make life-changing money while helping people. It's not just about the money. It's
Mm,
about you change your life, you change your family's life, you're set up to enjoy your life, and then you get to lift your students up as well. And
mm,
the marketing piece is where I thought I was going to be okay. I thought, I worked in the fancy world of the 1% and I'm going to be fine, but I worked for other people. So as
mm,
soon as I had to put myself out there where it was my voice, it was my product, oh my God. There were so many blocks, so many limiting beliefs of you're not going to make it. Do you even know what you're talking about? And I would say when it comes to marketing, the biggest mistake I see people make in the beginning is they copy everybody else because
mm,
you're like, oh, this is working. And I did the same. And maybe that's just the learning curve where you're getting comfortable with putting yourself out there. You're taking everybody's ideas. But in 2025, that's not going to work. It is not going to work. It's oversaturated. So if you are not willing to speak your truth, be real, it's it might work for, little sales here and there, but you need to be you because that's your superpower and there's no one else out there like you. So if you're quirky, be quirky. If you don't like to wear makeup, don't wear makeup. If you want to live in your sweatpants, live in your sweatpants. But if you're like me, you're going to be doing lives of the top of the mountain while there's a elephant behind you. But that is me, that is my brand. So I would definitely tell your friend, I'm sure she's going to be listening, that you need to do marketing, but it's very easy when you're true to yourself. Because I didn't want to be dolled up every day going on my Instagram while I want to be makeup free in a jungle. And when
mm.
I clicked that I can just be myself and talk to people, that was a massive shift. And that was actually a massive shift in my business as well.
It means that you're not like you need to market regardless. And so you might as well make it something that feels good and natural for you to do rather than something that you're constantly putting off because you're scared of it or because you think it needs to be something other than what it is. And so I love that idea of, yeah, leaning into to you because there are people you're not going to appeal to everyone, but you never were. So there's no point actually trying to. You might as well just be you so that you can appeal to the people that are going to actually really get you. And chances are those people are going to get more out of your course anyway because you're going to be you inside your program. So you might as well be you everywhere. Mm,
1,000%. And like, you really are not for everyone, as you said, and you don't want everybody in your course.
no, it'd be the
You
worst.
just don't. Exactly. You want people who really want it. And it's just very important to also know that when you're going through life, you're marketing yourself when you're talking to people, that you want to date. You're marketing yourself for a job. It's not putting it online normally, but that is all marketing. That's all selling yourself and who you are as a human. So just making that switch, that now you get to reach thousands of people with 300 followers
Mm,
instead of going into a room and maybe meeting 10 people. So it's a
yeah.
beautiful, beautiful platform if you know how to use it and like take it into your advantage.
Yeah, I think we forget how, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, Instagram and all of our online space was just not at all what it is now. And we look at it as if like, oh, it's so annoying, got to do Instagram, I've got to do this or that. And it's like, do you realize you now have the capacity for free to talk to thousands of people if you put the work in? And like they never had that. People 20 years ago had to do radio ads and TV ads and newspaper ads and ads. And now we can do ads. And
Paid
again, they're
ad.
cheaper and easier. And
Mhm.
it's just different. And we get to push into that rather than feeling like it's a drag. We can look at it for the amazing opportunity that it is. Yeah, it's wild. And so you just spoke about mindset for a little bit there in terms of the marketing side. Is there anything you find in terms of mindset on the money side that people get tripped up with often in this area?
Yes, 1,000%. The biggest limiting belief is that no one will buy
Mm,
when it comes to online course because you have never done this before. normally, right? And if you are either a beginner or if you do one-on-one, maybe if you're already doing one-on-one, you're not thinking that no one will buy, but you're in your head. So number one, if you have proof that this transformation, this cooking course, whatever you're making works, there are people out there. There's 7 billion people out there. Believe me, there are ways for you to make that. Another thing that I would say is that is a huge challenge for clients who just start with courses is the fact that they think that they're new in online space, and then they put their prices so low. And I'm like, okay, you're new in the online space, but you have your knowledge for years. You're invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in your education, or maybe you just have so much life experience on what you're teaching. That is worth money. That's what
Mm.
people are paying for. So if you're charging $20 for a 12-week program or $200 for a 12-week program, then I, as a, person who wants to learn from an expert would be like, well, but why is this so cheap, first of all? If it's a first round or like special, okay, I get that. But you have to be comfortable with charging an appropriate market price or maybe just a little below because you are new in the online space. I think everybody who is starting online should have a low ticket offer where people can come and get to know you in a free offer, but you have to have a high ticket offer of at least $1,000 because, or euros or whatever. Because think of it like this. I have a girl that came into my world. She has 300 followers.
Mm.
300 followers. That's it. But in actual like science-based facts again, the conversion rate is between 5 and, 2 and 5%, which is average. That means that she has about 15 buyers in her audience. 15. So now if you have $200 offer times 15, that's not that much. But if you have $1,000 offer and you sell it 15 times on your first launch, that means you're earning $15,000. And again, this is average conversion rate. This is not like something made up. So you need to be comfortable with a price that's on the market and understand that $1,000 for a 12-week program is free. And I see that mental block with people in the beginning because they just never, ask for something that is, that price or something like that. Especially when we go to like $5,000 or $3,000, they're like, but why would anybody buy? I'm like, they pay that much for a plane ticket. They have the money, trust me. It's just if they see value in you, if they trust you, if you have the authority to guide them through this process.
Mm, yeah, I think it's so hard at that starting phase, and even in that inside that journey to be to place enough value on it. And like you said, if we charge too low, that also makes people also not want to buy it because it feels so low. Like even yesterday, I was looking up a course, I think it was $59, and I was like, $59 is a lot of money, But if she had been charging 500, I probably would have been like, wow, yeah, I think I really need that.
Hmm.
And there's just such this mindset piece of, and obviously not everyone's going to be able to buy your course, but they don't need to. There is also free education for people, and so some people do want that container of stepping people through something in a chronological sequence that's proven to work, and they're the ones that might purchase from you. And if you really desperately want to make your pricing affordable, do some scholarships, maybe do something a little bit different, rather than feeling like everyone needs to pay this like really cheap price, because it's an interesting thing to think through.
I love that you said that. I love that you said to make like a affordable way to join. And I would like to give people tips to do
Mm,
like a low ticket subscription.
yeah.
Because subscription is something that, when you start off and let's say it's $27 per month, that maybe is nothing. But when you grow throughout the years, if you make a subscription to one call per month and maybe a mini challenge, which takes you an hour every month, and you have 100 people, you have 1,000 people, like that is revenue. That's basically free money. So if you start building something like that, I think that's a great way for people to come into your world. It's not completely free, so they're going to actually show up because
Yeah,
that's
it's a
another,
buy-in.
exactly. If you get something for free, a lot of times people won't even do it.
Yeah,
If I gave someone a course, like they don't have skin in the game.
yeah,
But when you invest, even in a mentor, if a mentor is $30, Cool. I don't care because I can lose $30. When I started, I actually lost my job and I invested $5,000 per month in a mentor without a business. And I was like, well, I gotta make it work. Like, I'm not just paying her for nothing. So I showed up every single day, and that was my way. But for someone, $300 a month can be stretchy. So it just depends where you are in your journey, where you get to pay just enough where you're like, well, now I got to do it.
Mm. Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think we're almost doing someone a disservice if we charge too little for it because they're less likely to show up for that, which is
Hmm.
hard to get our head around sometimes. Okay, last question for you. If someone was thinking right now, I maybe do have an, I've got two questions for you. Either someone who has an online course idea that like maybe actually let's go there. Someone that's thinking like they might have an online course idea. They're that something that you've said maybe today maybe sparks something in them, or they know that they can ask a friend and they're going to have an online a course idea very very soon.
Hmm.
What what are their next best steps to start to kind of flesh that out for themselves to um, test maybe if it's actually going to be something that's going to be helpful, etc.
Okay, amazing. I would say definitely use my free resource
Mm.
on defining that 1,000%. Like go through the process. I'm sure there's going to be a link right below. Otherwise, you can go on my website and find it. But that process will give you clarity. It will give you market research of maybe there's a lot of those out there already, but it will also show you a market gap. And then you can start spinning your wheels and have a module to module, lesson to lesson outline that you can then work with. Because if you have a plan, I mean, if you have a goal and you don't have a plan, then it's just kind of like a wish, in my opinion. So same goes with, like you can say, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds, but then if you don't have a plan of how
Yeah.
you're going to do this and when you're going to go to the gym, same thing. So I would say clarity is number one. And then trust yourself that if you have seen this work, if you've seen your process work with people around you in your one-on-one, it's gonna work. Like trust me, as long as you know how to then position your offer and how to speak about it, which is always the transformation. You're never selling a course, ever. I'm
Mm.
never gonna be here, oh, like buy my course. No, I'm gonna sell you on the transformation. That's like selling one-on-one. I'm gonna paint the picture of where you're gonna be a year from now because you did this,
Yeah.
because you went through this process. And that's when people get activated. Instead of you being like, oh, it has 12 modules, and then on module 5, okay, cool. And some people will ask you how it looks after, but no one's gonna buy because you have 12 modules on money mindset. They're gonna buy because a year from now, they're gonna be a money magnet
Yeah.
instead of, repelling money away and opportunities away.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's such a great little random, like, it's such a great tidbit in there because I think sometimes we get caught up of, especially like just from a personal perspective, like when you've done all this work and you've like built out this beautiful course and you're so proud of it, all you want to do is say, and in your mind, it is so obvious that everyone needs your course because it's incredible. You know that. But if we sell people on that, they're not likely going to buy. Like a few people will, but not
Yeah,
as many as
a
you're
few
hoping
will.
to be able to make this great freedom lifestyle that you're craving. So yeah,
Mhm.
selling that transformation and being really clever about how we market, I think is such a big point too. That's so great. Okay. I was just going to check. Do you have anything else you want to add in there before?
I,
Yeah.
I do actually, is the fact that if people don't buy immediately, that does not mean that your course is not good.
Yeah.
That just get that out of your head. Now, you will see, people who have been in business for 12 years and they're going to post something and they sell out. Yes, because they have a really hot audience they have built for 12 years. That's why. And if you post your course and you're so excited and no one buys, it's because they don't know you. And I would add a tip on visibility here that I heard from an incredible mentor is if you are not, if basically, let's say I'm Googling you now, and if you're not online for like at least 4 hours of content that I can binge, people
Mm.
don't have trust and authority. Like they don't see you as that. You're just some person on the internet. And you can be the most trustworthy person, but if I can't get to know you through your content, through your podcast, through your interviews, whatever that is, then I'm not going to trust you. So it's not that your course is bad. You just haven't said the right things to either activate people, build that trust and authority. So
Yeah.
keep going, keep testing, but 99% of the time, your course is good. And don't they just change it and make something else? No, don't do that because it's not that. And I see so many people do it. They're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, it's new course. And then bloop, it just disappears. And I'm like, what did you do? Where did it go?
Yeah, honestly, the hard bit isn't making the cut course. The hard bit is promoting it and pushing past when you don't get those sales. Like my first launch of my course went so well, but the other ones didn't. After that, and I could have
Mhm.
just given up and said, you know what, no one's buying this anymore. But it's 6 years later and I'm still selling the exact same course because it's not necessarily the content that's the problem. It's the people and the way that I market it and how I attract them and the way that I show up. And like to your point, I've had people that don't know me at all find me on a Google search, jump on a YouTube video, binge all my videos, and then purchase my course all in the space of one day because they've had that chance to be able to build that trust with me, even though I've been probably asleep because a lot of my clients are from the US. And
And
yeah,
you
it's
just
that,
be
that
like,
idea
I
of,
want to go.
yeah, exactly. Just putting up the content and just, yeah, posting a reel, getting a podcast interview, doing all of those things and then spruiking those things so people can find them and build that trust. Such a great point. Thank you for that. All right. I think that's enough food for thought for people to not overwhelm them too much. If we want to connect with you or be in your world, how can we stay in touch?
Yes, for sure. I think all my information is so beautifully organized on my website, which is SARA coach.com. You will find like all my freebies and everything, which I'm gonna, of course, give it to you as well so you can share with your audience. Or you can find me on my Instagram, Sara Vezensek, which might be a little more complicated, but I'm sure it's gonna be linked below as well and on my website. And I want to just add that I'm an open book. Reach out to me, send me a DM, send me an email. Like, I love to connect with people, offer free calls to just give you clarity because I struggled so much in the beginning and I wasted so much money to learn, what doesn't work. So I am here for you if you need anything.
Thank you for that. And thank you for all the wonderful wisdom you've shared. It has been such a wonderful chat. And I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
So I hope you enjoyed that chat as much as I enjoyed having it with Sara. Thank you for being here. Thanks for jumping on the podcast. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you really want to make my day, feel free to leave a review on whatever podcast platform you use to help more people find this incredible resource. And just a little shout out too, if you are not already, make sure you're following me on Instagram. I know a lot of my podcast and YouTubers aren't over there on Instagram, and that is where I'm showing up the most, giving extra value, extra insights, and reminding you how incredible you are and the opportunities you have to create incredible, successful businesses and brands. My handle is White Deer GD, so the color white, the animal deer, and the letters G and D. I'll see you over there. Bye.